Howdy folks, Pooch is in this kitchen. I'm about to show you something here. I might have explained a little bit of this in a prior post, but we're going to get into it deep this time. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and Pooch is going to do untraditional Thanksgiving this year. Him and Pretty are headed out of town, and we got family coming over, but I got something that's always a big hit around this camp. Listen to Mister over there playing with his toy. But Pooch is up for making his good old brisket tacos. And I think we're going to have Italian to go along with it. But anyway, Pooch is about to get after it. He's got to get his meat ready to cook so he can enjoy some brisket tacos tomorrow. At least that's what they think. But Pooch and you guys are going to know what it really is. So first off, I've got natural fresh beef roast. Look at that. Ain't that pretty? I got one. And I got two. These are pretty good size roasts too. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to these things and how I make them. And if you give it a try, I'm sure your family will love them too. But let's get it all prepped up and ready to go. Now let's get her cooking. Yes, sir. Now as we get into the meat prep of this, I mean, again, this is super simple. Anybody could do it. It all depends on your taste. But one of the first things Pooch does is he forks them roast up pretty good. I mean, he goes to town on them. So let Pooch get to forking up. And what I mean by forking up is, let me turn you around and show you. Again, what I mean by forking them up is I take this fork and I just go to town on these things. I ain't kidding you. I do. I go to town on them. I mean, I really give them a good forking on both sides. But since I'm doing this one-handed, I'm going to place you down where you can really watch. So let me get y'all set up. Yeah, now that I got you in a good position, Pooch can get after it. But I mean, I stab this thing all over the place. I get in there as deep as I can get. You know, you gotta let that meat open up and breathe for what I'm about to do to it. And those are some good looking roasts. They're hefty size roasts. And let me tell you, you know, these two roasts right here, once they're at the point to where you get to shredding, and you know that fat, that's where a lot of the flavor is. Now I do weed it out when I get to my end process, but these two roasts right here, they will produce quite a bit of meat there for what we're doing with these things. Like I said, I'm going to be shredding them up. I'll be shredding them up, making them up for tacos. And man, these things are good. People love them. I know my family loves them. But yep, you got to give those roasts good forking. And I mean a good forking. Turn that one over. And I don't know about y'all, but I know that fat really puts a lot of flavor into this stuff, especially with what I'm going to add to it here in a bit. Now, I've filled y'all in on that one. Y'all know what I'm going to add. And if you don't, just keep watching. But this is going to be our Thanksgiving this year. This, as well as Italian food. Pooch is not a big turkey fan. So, all right, I've got them forked up. And they're looking pretty good. And the next step's gonna be throwing on the pepper. Now, I like ground pepper. Now, I like heavy ground pepper. So we're gonna get this thing dialed up real good, putting some coarse ground pepper on this roast. Get this other one. I normally don't add any salt because of the secret sauce I use has plenty of salt. Actually, and they do make it with less sodium, but Pooch likes it the way it is. I'm gonna flip that baby over. I gotta get this one flipped over. Again, those are some pretty good size chunks of roast. I need a paper towel. Yep, need that paper towel. All right, here we go. Gotta pepper this up real good and proper. Both of them. Gotta pepper them both up real good. There we go. All right. Let's get on to the next process. Now, I've told you before what one of my secret recipe or secret sauce is. Let's see if y'all remember. Yes, sir. Dale's seasoning. That's it. Dale's seasoning. Reminds me of my good buddy Dale over at 9 Acre Farms there. But yeah, this stuff is the bomb. Burgers, steaks, what I'm about to do, good stuff. All right, let's move on to the next process here. Now remember, I got it forked up pretty good. I'm gonna give this here Dale seasoning a good shaking. Get her opened up. I usually use a tablespoon. I'm gonna pour that stuff into that tablespoon. That just gives me a little more control of what I'm doing. But I'm just gonna pour it right over this thing. And it really doesn't take a lot to get the desired taste that we like around here. And remember, those fork holes, purpose of me forking this roast up, not only does you open it up and spread it out, but it allows this stuff to get down deep inside of the roast. Lets it soak in deep. And that's where a lot of the flavor begins to come from. Yeah, we'll just let it, I'll smear it around a little bit. And then I'm gonna do the other one. I suggest you try some of this stuff. this with that fat juice that's cooking it in. Ooh wee. Good flavor, good flavor. Now being I got this on there, I'm gonna let it set a minute. You know, let it set and absorb a little bit. And then we'll get to the next step, which is pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna drop them in a crock pot. I'm gonna put these in a crock pot. I'm gonna do the same thing, adding this sauce. So let's let that soak in a minute, then we'll get it over in the crock pot and do the other sides. Yes, sir? Now I know y'all see this here crock pot and the two roasts here on the side. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these things just like that. I'll put that sucker in there. And I'm going to get this second one. And I'm going to put that sucker in there. Now don't worry about them fitting or not fitting. That's the least of our worries. I'm taking that excess there, what come off on the first round, slapping it in there. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add a few teaspoons of this on it. And we're going to let it just soak in. Meanwhile, now note, I'm not adding any water to this stuff. I'm not adding nothing other than pepper, roast, and this here Dale's seasoning. That's all we're adding to it. Keep that over there. And the next step is rather simple. The next step is getting it in the crock pot, get her cooking. That's it. She's already in the crock pot, but we need to get her on some heat. So let's get going. Yes, sir. I've got this in the crock pot. The crock pot is on. It is on high. And that's where she's going to set for at least 8 hours. At least 8 hours. Let's get that lid on there. And she'll get to cooking a good 8 hours on high, undisturbed. Should take care of it. But since she's in there at it now, I'm going to clean up what little mess I got. And I'll bring you in when she's done cooking. Well, howdy folks. Or should I say good morning, folks. We're back in the kitchen again this morning. I've had that roast in that crock pot all night. I cooked it on high for about probably 9.5 hours because I really like to let that roast and all that fat to cook and render down. Now you folks remember, I put those 2 big roasts in this crock pot and I didn't add nothing as far as liquid other than the Dale seasoning marinade. That's all I put on it. I salted, peppered, I forked the heck out of the roast itself. And then I added, I don't know, maybe 8-9 tablespoons of Dale seasoning. I let it soak down in there. And then I threw it in the crock pot. Threw it in the crock pot on high. And again, it cooked about 9.5 hours, I think, on high. But I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to open that crock pot lid and let you see just how much liquid and how much it cooked down. Let's take a look real quick. All right, here we go. Would you look at that? Look at that. Look how much liquid's in there now. That's quite a bit. Quite a bit of liquid juice. So next step's gonna be, we're gonna get to shredding this stuff. Got to get it all shredded, cut down, and I'm quite sure there's some bigger chunks of fat in there that Pooch will weed out of this here batch. And then we got to get it back in the crock pot so we can get it warmed up, or keep it warmed up, so we can throw down here in a little bit. But let me pull her out of there and get to shredding, and we'll get on to the next step. Yes, sir. Now what Pooch will do, he'll take a chunk at a time, and he's got his shredders. Now if you folks have got you some of these work great on shredding anything, chicken, roast, beef, but they're magnetic. They come apart, holding the drawer real easy. But check it out. I take it, I'll put it in here like so, I'll hold it, and I just start shredding. Just start shredding this stuff up. Just like that. And like I said, I will probably go through and pull out the excess fat. Just to, you know, keep all the extra fat in there. Although Pooch has always said, and it's true, the fat is where the goodness is. Pooch likes fat, actually. But look at that. Look how well done it is, too. But see that, folks? And actually, it's good to leave some extra fat in there. That way, as it's staying heated up, it keeps it moist. But as you can tell, that's just one little piece of those 2 roasts. But I'll take my tongs here, just to kind of give you an idea of what it'll do when you go to make your tacos later. And don't think I'm not going to show you that either, because we're going to do a taste test here in a little bit. But there you go, folks. Let Pooch get to shredding the rest of that up, and he'll show you what it looks like when he's done and how much it filled that pot up. Now, I will be draining that juice off that pot. I'll keep just a little bit in there, but I'll get rid of most of it. So let Pooch get to shredding and get it back in there so it can stay warm until we throw down later. Yes, sir. Well, there you go, folks. It's all shredded up. Filled that bowl plumb up, put it back in the crock pot. There's a little bit of the fat we took off. But yeah, I'll get this heated back up, let it stay warm until we get to throw down later. And I'll show you the first taco. Well, hold on, wait a minute. I've got to show you a taste test. So let's get a little hunk out of here. We'll try this piece. Good, all right. Yes, sir. Well, there it is, folks. I got my beef, I got my pico, I got my cheese, I got my guac. There's my taco right there. Let's see what this thing's gonna taste like here. And I'm quite certain it's good. Good, all right. So, go ahead and give it a shot. I think you'd like it too.